Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of C Programming. Before you start laughing from my haircut, you need to know that all the barbershops are closed and I had to cut my own hair, and this is the disaster I made. Okay, so let's get to the work. Today we're going to talk about the printf function. But what is printf function? As we discussed, printf function takes in a formatted string and prints it in the screen for us, in the console window for us, and we can manipulate it to print whatever we want on it. Let's jump into the code to see how we can write code using printf function. So as I said, printf is short for print formatted arguments. So if I wanted to tell you here, so this is a string we want to print using the printf. It was hello world. Let's double check to see if our program works. I'll press Ctrl F5 to compile and run my code, and you see that hello world is printed on the screen. Let's go back to the code and modify it a little bit. So the format is printf function takes a formatted string and an argument and can print it on the screen. So this is the string and then argument, let's say 10. I want to print 10 on the screen. Let's compile and run this code to see what's happening. If I press Ctrl F5, nothing will show on the screen, but the code compiles safely. Let's go back to the code. I haven't told C where to put this 10. And in order to do that, I need to use a formatted string. Here, %d represent integer. So if I placed a %d here, C would go after this string, look for the comma, and will place the first argument after the comma instead of the %d. I don't believe it. Let's see. Ctrl F5, compile the program, and 10 is printed. Amazing. But it's not just for printing a number. I can add here is a number and put 10. Ctrl F5, and you would see here is a number 10 is printed. Okay. So what if I wanted to print two integers? Let's change this to the first number is %d and the second number is %d. And then here can add 20. So for the first %d, it will look for the first argument, which is 10. For the second %d, it will look for the second argument, which is 20. Let's compile and run it to see what's the results. Awesome. The first number is 10 and the second number is 20. But you might say, I don't only need to print integers. I want to print characters, strings, numbers with decimals. All of them have their own different format. Let's go and see how to print a character. So I would say, between the quotations, the initial of my name is %c. So %c is where I wanted to place a character. And for a character, I can use either single quotations or double quotation, it doesn't matter. I'll choose single quotations. And inside the single quotation, I'll add R. So if I print this, Ctrl F5 to compile and run the code, you'd see the initial of my name is R, is printed. But if I wanted to print my initial, which is RR, it's a string, and %c just only prints one character. And we're going to talk about that, why and why character only holds one character, and what is the character variable. There's going to be a detailed video for the next episode and talks about different variables, but just hear me out how to print these variables. Okay, so my initials are, if it's a string I have to use double quote RR. Just press Ctrl F5 to compile and run it again. Nothing is shown because we have to say the format for a string, and the format for a string is %s. And if I say Ctrl F5, oh, I have an here that I have to fix. Ctrl F5 again. Awesome. My initials are RR. So we printed an integer using %d, a character using %c, a string using %s. Let's go and print a decimal point number. The float number is, so the formatting for decimal point numbers are %f. And %f is for printing single precision numbers. I'll put, for example, 1.2 here. Sorry, 1.2, we don't need that. Double code. Let's see how C will print this for us. Ctrl F5 to compile and run it. Amazing. The float number is 1.20000. Why this bunch of zeros are printed? And I don't want them. There is a way to format how many spaces you want for your number and how many decimal points you want to print. The format is, as you see on the screen, w.d.f. So w, let me put it here, w.d.f. So instead of w, I can put the whole space that I wanted to leave for this number, for example 10. And after dot, I want to put how many decimal points? 3. So for the integer part, it will be 7 spaces, and for the decimal part, it will be 3 spaces. Actually not, because we forgot the dot. That needs a space as well. So there will be 3 spaces for the decimal, 1 for dot, and 6 remains for the integer part. So if I print this, what I want is what I'm showing here on the screen. It's 10 spaces, which the last 3 will be the decimal point. The fourth one will be, from the end, will be the dot, and the before that will be 1, which is the integer. Let's see if that's happening or not. Press Ctrl F5 to compile and run the code, and amazing, we got what we want. You can play with this, but what is it used for? Most of the time you want to print a couple of lines, but you want to have the numbers aligned together. You will see this a lot in this course actually. Let's add another printf line. Printf the second number is, let's actually just print numbers. I just wanted to make sure that all the numbers are aligned together. So I would use the same formatting as I used in the first printf function, and for the argument I will put 12.56. Keep putting comma instead of point. Okay, if I compile and run this code, oh, I have some errors. Let me see what's the errors. I click on the errors. Expected semicolon. Oh, I forgot to put a semicolon at the end of the printf. Okay. Control F5. Okay, you see these two numbers are perfectly aligned because we'll leave enough spaces for the integer and enough spaces for the decimal points. We will use this feature of C formatting a lot in next lectures and in our tests and our quizzes. But one thing to keep in mind, I wanted to print single precision. We will have a dedicated video to the variables and talking about single precision and double precision. But if you see, if I hover my mouse on 1.2, C is saying 1.2 is double. But no, 1.2 for me is single precision, it's not double precision. So in order to, when you type your number in C and you want it to be single precision, just add a character F at the end of the number. Now if I hover my mouse on it, it's a float number, which is 1.2. And if I hover my mouse here, it's 1.256 double, but if I add an F here, it will be a float number as well. So what if you wanted to print double? Double is the same thing, but decimal points with double precision. So I will print F. This is double. I would use %, this time LF. And for the argument, I would use 1.2345678 Awesome. Let's print this to see. Control F5 to compile and run. Error because again we forgot semicolon. Control F5. Compile and run it. This is double 1.2345. It's rounding up my number up to here. So that's why this precision is important here. If I say, for example, 0.9 LF and then compile and run my code, you would see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is printed completely. But if you don't specify how many decimal points you want to print, it will automatically print 7 decimal points for you and it will round up your number. Be careful about that. We are engineers, we want the maximum precision that we can get, so these tiny details in C is important for us. Here you can do mathematical operations as well. So if I wanted to print 3 different integers, first is, let's say, if I add 1 to 2, the result is 3. So without formatting, I can print this. Control F5, as it's an easy example like the hello world one, works perfect. If I add 1 to 2, the result is 3. The other way I can do it, I can add 3 different arguments. 1, 2. Well, let's see the result this time. Okay, if I add 1 to 2, the result is 3. Amazing. Let's go back to the code. One thing I wanted to show you here, you can add 1 and 2 directly here in functions. When you input the input arguments into a function in C, you can actually add them, subtract them, or do mathematical operations, or even add other functions to it, but that's beyond the scope of this video. We'll talk about it in next lectures. Well, let's see if this works. Control F5, compile and run without debugging. If I add 1 to 2, the result is 3, so it's working. Thank you guys for watching this video. In this video, we'll learn how to print formatted strings with different arguments such as integer, float, characters, strings on the console window. In the next video, we are going to talk about the variables to see what are the variables we can use in our C program. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.